Hi everybody, I'm Tyler Babbitt and I will be analyzing the movement of a push-up. The push-up is a great movement to analyze because of the stability of the bones. It uses multiple joints and it shows how forces act on the body. The push-up is a closed chain movement, which means the hands stay on the ground as the body moves. Alright, to do a push-up, you're going to want to first get down. You're going to want to put your hands shoulder width, a little wider than shoulder width apart. You don't want your arms to be straight, but you don't want your elbows to be locked. You then want to make sure your fingers are pointed forward, and you put your legs straight out. And you want to make sure you engage your core and your glutes to make sure your hips don't drop as you're doing it. The goal of a push-up is to have our muscular force push us away and against the gravity in order to create the muscular endurance and tension. It's also very important to keep our core engaged so we don't lose that energy that we're building up. There are two main phases in the push-up motion or movement. The first phase is going to be your lowering phase. We call this the eccentric phase. Basically, when we're here in our lower movement, as we go down, our chest, triceps, and shoulders are all working and creating pressure towards the floor. The second phase of a push-up is the pressing phase or the co-eccentric phase. So after our eccentric phase of lowering here, our co-eccentric phase is going to be pushing back up, using the force to push off of the earth, fighting gravity back up. And this is going to make sure we have our core and glutes engaged the whole time because they're working isometrically together. The first joint of the joints that are used is going to be the shoulder joint right here. And your shoulder joint is a ball and socket joint, which means it can move in many different directions. The main muscle that is being used during the push-up is your pectoralis major right here, your chest. So as you're bringing it in and out, we're working this muscle mostly. The second joint we use in a push-up is the elbow joint. Now the elbow joint right here is it's a hinge joint. And it's mostly just helping you get back up. You want to make sure your elbows are straightening. That's what a help does. Your elbow joint helps the elbow straighten. In that straightening process, we are working the triceps brachia right here, making sure we work the triceps and chest both on the push-up. The last muscle we use in push-up is our core muscles right here. And these will be your abdomens or your obliques. And those are going to help you keep your spine stable throughout the movement. The second muscle you'll be using is your gluteus maximus, which is going to help you keep your hips stay up and not drop as you're doing the motion. For the muscle rolls, your agonists are going to be your chest and triceps, which are going to help create and do the full movement, the main movement. And then your antagonists are going to be your rear shoulders and your biceps, where they won't be doing as much in the exercise except helping keep stability throughout. Okay, your synergist is going to be the front of your shoulder. That is going to help your chest throughout the motion stabilize and feel comfortable. And then your stabilizers are going to be your abs and your rear shoulders, where they're just going to help your body and posture stay maintained throughout the movement. The length-tension relationship happens in a push-up at the bottom of the push-up. This is where your chest muscles are stretched. They're able to create force, but they're more using the elastic energy from the push-up. The stretch shortening cycle also has to do with the elastic energy. It's basically saying as we go down, we're building that energy right here to push back up, making our push-up a stronger motion in one. Force-velocity relationship, that's basically saying if you do a movement slower, that's going to work your muscles more, it's going to give more tension. If you go faster, you're going to get a more aggressive exercise, you're going to get less tension from it. That's why when we do push-ups, the slower ones always feel a bit harder than faster when we're just cranking them out. For range of motion in push-ups, there isn't a lot that goes on with range of motion. Your first one is going to be about 9 degrees from your shoulder, 9 degrees from your elbow when you go down. This is going to be a 9-degree angle between your arm and your elbow right here. You want to make sure that's 90. And then Your shoulders are gonna come outward a little bit. They're not gonna have too much motion in them push-up. And then your wrists are gonna turn out a little bit, but they probably will stay pretty similar. For kinematics of push-up, kinematics being the study of motion, our elbows are gonna move through flexion and extension. Our spine is gonna stay pretty much the same, it's gonna stay still, and our shoulders will only move in a horizontal plane. The kinetics of a push-up are gonna be the study of the forces on it. So your external forces are gonna be gravity, A, when it moves the body down. And then your other one is going to be, your other external force is going to be the ground itself, pushing back up against the gravity, which is gonna be called your ground force, I believe it's called. Your internal forces for the push-up is gonna be your joints, and they're gonna be experiencing compression forces as you go down. And then the only other force is going to be your body pushing against the ground, using that force to get your body back up. The push-up is going to be acting as a lever for us. Our elbow specifically is going to be that third class lever that is going to help us move down that process. It's going to keep us stabilized here and be able to help us push that force off the ground to get back up. To calculate the torque for a shoulder, at first, what we're going to want to start is get your body weight, and we're going to want to convert that into force, aka newtons. Then, after that, what we want to do is we want to find the percentage that is our arms are using in that force, and we're going to multiply that percentage times your weight. And then we want to find how far your shoulder is from the center of mass, which usually won't be that bad. It'll be a small number. We're going to take those numbers, the number you got from the first one, and the number you got from your little distance here, and we're going to multiply those together, and that'll give you your torque calculation for your shoulder. To calculate for work during a push-up, what we're going to do is we're going to take our force and we're going to times it by the distance we've moved. So however much force we've used during that push-up and the distance we've created from the bottom to the top. We're going to take those two numbers, we're going to multiply them together, and that's going to give us our work force. For law of motion, we don't really use most of them except Newton's third law, which is basically stating that however much force we push into the ground is going to exert that, and it's going to give us the force back to push it back out. Some common efficiencies for push-ups are going to be our elbows flaring out. If our elbows flare out, it's going to create a lot of tension. That's not going to feel good. Your second one is going to be your hips. You want to make sure your hips stay in the same place. You don't want them dropping. That's going to create tension and injures your lower back, which, having said, after our lower back, we want to make sure our glutes are tight. We keep our abs and core tight to make sure our spine stays stable throughout the process. Some evidence-based recommendations that I found where it's very important that we have our elbows at that 45-degree angle. It's very important that we keep our core engaged, and it's very important that we keep our hips up at all times, making sure that they're engaged in the motion up and down. So for some corrective exercises, if your push-up form is bad, one you could do is a scapular push-up. It's a different type of push-up that'll help you with your form and stability as we go up and down. And then your second corrective one is going to be planks. Planks are going to help you a lot with keeping that core engaged and those hips up the whole time. Some ways we can improve our performance at a push-up is by slowing down your reps. It's very important that when we do the push-up, you want to feel the motion. You don't want to rush through it. You want to make sure your muscles are feeling each part of the motion throughout. And then secondly, you're going to want to make sure, sometimes it's easier for people to do it on their knees or a different form of it, just to ease it down and feel the motion out before you get into a full push-up.